Hosted by you/glittering_trifle421. I, 32M, recently proposed to my girlfriend of 2 years, Sharon, 30F, about a month and a half ago. Ever since the ring went on her finger, it feels like her attitude and behavior have completely changed. While we were dating, we appeared to be exceptionally compatible, and it seemed we shared common beliefs and morals. 7 weeks ago, I proposed, and she said yes. I felt like it was the happiest moment for both of us. But less than a week later, her attitude seemed to completely change. I thought I knew all her friends, but one day I came home to find 6 women I had never seen before, and Sharon introduced me to them. I was curious why I was only just meeting them, especially since I had already met Sharon's 2 best friends, Michelle and Octavia, neither of whom were present, over a year and a half ago. Sharon said she wanted to make sure we were a sure thing before introducing me to her inner circle. I found this strange, not to mention it was a weeknight, and they were quickly draining my wine rack. Sharon still had her own place, but she stayed with me so often that she practically lived here. Still, I found it incredibly rude when they left, leaving behind 4 empty bottles of rosé. I tried to talk to Sharon about having uninvited guests on weeknights, but she dismissed my concern very flippantly, more like she brushed me off. In the following weeks, Sharon went out with the girls several times. When she brought them to my place, twice without notice, and once with notice to appease me, her words, they all treated me like a butler, shaking their empty wine glasses at me for refills. After the 4th time, I made it clear that I would be getting a locked wine rack. Sharon just called me no fun after that. But it gets worse. Sharon decided that me and the girls got off on the wrong foot and suggested we have dinner together at a nice restaurant. So, I went, but it wasn't great. The 6 of them kept prodding me about my life, my house, and my career but deflected every question I asked in return. It got especially bad later that night when they started discussing modern relationships and jealousy. One of them brought up some key points about relationships that I thought Sharon and I were already on the same page about, specifically, what ifs regarding polyamory and being friends with exes. To my shock, Sharon said we shouldn't be too hasty in making decisions on these matters. This was a complete 180 from how she had expressed herself just a month earlier, when she was vehemently against keeping ex-partners in a friend circle and was staunchly monogamous. The worst part came when the bill arrived. Sharon announced that it should be split together and slid the check over to me. I told her she couldn't be serious, and we got into a bit of an argument. I ended it by putting down my portion in cash and walking out, leaving them to figure out the rest of the bill. In the days that followed, Sharon kept calling me toxic and fragile. However, every time I tried to address the issue, she would apologize and say she was just stressed at work. It's crazy, we haven't even started planning the wedding yet. The worst part happened this Monday. While I was at work, I got a Nest doorbell alert and checked to see Sharon and one of her 6 new friends arriving at my place, going inside, and then leaving with my golf clubs. This set was a gift from my father, and it was quite expensive, so the fact that Sharon lent it out without my permission really pissed me off. I immediately called Sharon and told her and her friend to return the clubs. Sharon tried to gaslight me by saying, "But you promised to lend the clubs to her boyfriend, remember?" I told her that the cost of the clubs made this a serious issue, and that she and her friend had 1 hour to return them or I would call the police. Sharon kept insisting that she had my permission, but I told her to cut the crap. Less than 45 minutes later, I got another notification of Sharon and her friend coming back with the clubs, going inside, and leaving them. On the way out, her friend even flipped off the Nest doorbell. When I got home, I saw that Sharon's friend had literally just tossed the clubs and bag onto the living room floor. Sharon tried to talk to me again about my supposed toxicity, but I told her to cut the crap. I said that if I had known this was how she truly was, I would have never proposed. That seemed to freak her out, and she once again insisted that she was just stressed from work, but by that point, I wasn't buying it anymore. I told her to return the ring and her key, and that we would talk about our relationship this weekend. She cried and begged me not to cancel the engagement, insisting it was just stress, but I stood firm and told her we would discuss it over the weekend. She eventually relented but only gave me back the key. After she left, I had my house rekeyed just to be safe. Since then, Sharon has been sending me constant texts filled with love and apologies, saying she got swept up and only wanted to show me off to her close friends. But I'm just not buying it. Those same close friends have been texting me daily, calling me toxic and fragile, saying they knew I wasn't man enough for Sharon or secure enough to share her with friends. A few of my own friends, who have known Sharon throughout the 2 years we were dating, are shocked by how quickly she seemed to turn into someone else. They think there must be something I'm missing or that I might have left something out. They've suggested I must have said or done something to trigger her friend's behavior and that I must have been the one in the wrong somewhere along the way. I don't know, it's a lot to take in from all directions right now. Update 3 days later. Sharon has been gone for about an hour now, and the breakup is official. I have the ring back. I talked to Michelle via Facebook, and she told me that she and Octavia are cousins of Sharon. Michelle also mentioned that she knew the 6 and didn't care for them, but she didn't say much more beyond that. I've met Sharon's parents, and they seem to like me, though the topic of Michelle and Octavia never came up when I was around them. Luckily, none of our finances were intertwined yet, though we had planned to do that later this month, which obviously won't happen now. I invited 3 of our mutual friends, Casey, John, and Mike, to be here when Sharon got here. Sharon showed up and was surprised to see we had company. I said they were here for both of our sakes. Sharon wanted to phone 3 of the 6 to come over to even things out and I refused, and I used the club theft as a reason. Sharon tried to deflect, but I wasn't having it. I pointed out that, over the last month, her friends dropping by had cost me nearly $500 in wine, and she hadn't made any attempt to reimburse me. I also reminded her about trying to stick me with the bill for an 8-person dinner without asking me first. She claimed again that she was just trying to show how great a guy I was, and then said she had clearly misjudged me and was disappointed in my attitude. I then asked her about the golf clubs. She tried gaslighting me again with, "You totally said it was okay, remember?" But I kept calling it BS. Mike chimed in, knowing the clubs were a gift from my dad and that I was highly protective of them, and also called BS. That's when Sharon shifted her attention to Mike and John, saying, "Hasn't he been getting forgetful lately? Don't you remember when he forgot that one date?" But neither of them was buying it. I finally told her to forget postponing the wedding or canceling the engagement. Our entire relationship would be over if she couldn't be honest with me. Sharon let out a long, exaggerated sigh, took off the ring, and dropped it on the coffee table. As she got up to leave, she said, "You're never going to find someone as good as me," and told me to send her stuff to her apartment. She left, and Casey, John, and Mike were completely stunned. All I could say was, "Believe me now?" I'm still utterly shocked and confused by Sharon's attitude. I'm sure the heartbreak will hit me soon, but right now, I just feel kind of numb.